Now once again, class 12, biology, the same lesson, that is the reproduction in plant. In our previous classes, we have studied about the microspore, that is the male gamete, and megaspore, that is the female gamete. Now the next topic is pollination. This is not a new term for you. In your previous class, maybe in the 10th class, you know a little bit about the pollination. Now you have to go in the detail of the pollination. Okay. What is the pollination? The first question is that the process of transfer of pollen from male part to female. What is the male part? It's the male stamen or the anther from the female stigma. That process is called, that is the pollination. What is the pollination? The process of transfer of pollen. And what is the pollen? Pollen is the male gamete. From stamen or anther to stigma of the flower. Pollination. This is a simple definition of the pollination. Okay. Now let's move towards the types of pollination. There are two types, or two kinds of pollination. So types of pollination. And there are two types of pollination as we already studied in class 10. Now what are the two types of pollination? The first pollination is called the self-pollination. What is the first? That is called the self-pollination. Pollination is transferring of pollen from the male part to female part. Self, it means by itself. If the pollen transfers from without the help of any other agent, without the help of any other factor, then that type of pollination is called the self-pollination. What is self-pollination? Pollination occurs without interference of any agent. And what are the agents that we studied further in next type of the pollination, that is called the cross-pollination. First, we have to study about the self-pollination. If the process of pollination occurs without the help of any agent, then it is called the self-pollination. Self-pollination means the stamen or the anther crested, dehiscence is going on in the anther, and all the pollen fall off on the stigma part of the flower. On the basis of this, we are able to classify the self-pollination into two types. One is called AUTOGAMY and second is called GEITONOGAMY. So first is the AUTOGAMY. This is types of self-pollination. There are two types of self-pollination, and first type is called AUTOGAMY. Auto means self. If this process occurs by itself, then it is called the AUTOGAMY. Okay. So what is AUTOGAMY? What is the peculiar characteristic which is present in AUTOGAMY? AUTOGAMY achieved in same flower. That is important. Both the organs, both the male and female organs, if they are present in the same flower, if it is the pollination occurs in the same flower, then that type of pollination is called the AUTOGAMY. So that is the first character. Achieve process in same flower. Process. What is the process? Pollination in same flower. Okay. Achieve process in same flower. So transfer of pollen grain from anther to the stigma. What is the process going on? the transfer of the pollen grain anther to the stigma process is the same. The pollen transfers from anther to stigma of same flower or same flower. That is important. Same flower. Okay, it is achieved only between structure in the same flower. So this is same flower. That is important one. And it is also clear that complete autogamy is rather rare. Okay, complete. Third character is complete autogamy. Autogamy is rather rare. Why it is rare? Why it is not achieved all the time? Why it does not occur always? Because it is very much important. What is important? When the anther bracted or the dehiscence of the anther is going on, at the same time the stigma is ready for achieve or to gain that pollen. If it is possible, then only the autogamy occurs. Okay, the autogamy arises or occurs only in synchronous conditions. Synchronomy is what is a synchronomy? It means at the time when anther is dehiscent, the same time the stigma is ready to collect that pollen. If it is possible, then autogamy is there. So what is autogamy? Autogamy is rather rare. Why it is rather rare? Because for autogamy, synchromy must be there between the pollen release and the stigma receptivity. It is rather rare because for autogamy, synchronizing must be there. A synchronizing between whom? There between pollen release and the stigma receptivity. Okay, is it clear? As soon as the pollen brusted, the dehiscence or brusting of the anther arises, all the pollen release out from the pollen sac. At the same time, the stigma is ready to receive, to collect that pollen. If it is possible, then only autogamy is there. So it is rather complete autogamy is rather rare. All the time, this is impossible to do. We have the various examples, for example, oxalis or viola. Okay. But one very much interesting pollination is present in one plant that is called the COMMELINA. Okay. What happened in the COMMELINA? COMMELINA actually, it has two types of flowers. Two types of the flower. It means in the same plant they bear two types of flowers. One flower which is clearly open, it means the male part and female part is visible in that flower. But one another type of flower is also present in that COMMELINA. In that flower is closed pollen and the stigma is there in that flower. So there are two types of pollination conditions present in COMMELINA. Pollination in COMMELINA. Okay, what happened in this plant? It produced two types of flowers. This plant produced two types of flowers. Okay, the two types of flowers. One flower which has open stigma and the stamen, and one flower in which the closed part is present inside the flower only. So this is the plant which contains two types of the flower. One is called CHASMOGAMOUS flower and one is called CLEISTOGAMOUS flower. Let's see the diagram first. Okay. This is upward on the above the ground surface. The flower is present like this. Okay. This flower is called CHASMOGAMOUS. CHASMOGAMOUS. Okay. This is one type of the flower which is present in this plant. But when another type of the flower is also present, that is called CLEISTOGAMOUS. Okay, so this plant bears two types of the flower. One flower in which the stigma, then stamen, all are the open up, and one flower in which all these parts is closed. Here, the anther and stigma is exposed. What is the peculiarity of this flower? In this flower, the anther and stigma is exposed. We are able to see both the part of the flower. But what happens here? In this flower, this flower do not open at all. Okay, this is a closed flower. What is the peculiarity? This is a closed flower. Closed flower. Then what happens? If it is closed flower, it means anther, that is anther and stigma is enclosed inside the flower. Inside the flower. It is not visible. It is closed inside the flower only. If it is closed inside the flower only, it means the pollination here is more effective. Okay? The pollination here, which is the self-pollination only here, is more effective. Okay, here the pollination is rate. Why? It is rate. Pollination is rather rare. Why it is rare? As I told you, in this condition, the stigma and the anther is ready at the same time. When the anther dehisces, pollen releases, and the stigma must release or collect that flower. So pollination is rather rare here, but pollination here is more effective. More effective, it means there is assuring of seed formation. Assured seed formation. Okay. And one more important thing, that the fourth point, the cross-pollination. There is no chance of cross-pollination. No chance of cross-pollination. Okay. Here, assured seed formation is not there. Assured or seed formation is not assured, and also the chance of the cross-pollination is getting. Chance of cross-pollination is there. Okay, so these are the two types of the flowers. Both has the AUTOGAMY. Both types of the flowers present in the same plant, that is called the COMMELINA. And what happened in both the flowers? There are two types of the flowers. One is open flowers, one is enclosed flowers. So the AUTOGAMY condition is different in both the flowers. So this is the first type of self-pollination that we call the AUTOGAMY. And second type of the self-pollination is called GEITONOGAMY. GEITONOGAMY. Now let's see what is the difference between the autogamy and GEITONOGAMY? GEITONOGAMY and autogamy both are the process of self-pollination only, but they are little bit different in between these two types of self-pollination. The first type of self-pollination is called autogamy, and the second type of the self-pollination is called GEITONOGAMY. Now, what is the difference between autogamy and GEITONOGAMY? That we have to see. It does not occur in the same flower. It occurs in different flowers of the same plant. Okay, lots of flowers are there in the plant. It is possible when one anther is rusted, all the pollens fall in the another stigma which is present in the same flower, same plant, but not the same flower. Okay, what happened in the autogamy? In autogamy, only one flower is there. Okay, this is the flower that is there. One flower is there. This is the anther set. Okay, and this is the stigma. It must be there when the anther set, the pollen transfers to the stigma of the same flower. And if the flower is not ready, out of both the things, if one is not ready, then pollination is not possible. Okay. But what happened now? This is the flower. This is the same plant. It bears one flower here. Okay. This is the anther set. This is the stigma. One more flower is here. It is possible that when this is the stigma, this is the anther. Okay. This is the anther. This is the stigma. This is the stigma. It is possible at the time when anther is rusted. Okay, here it is rusted from here. All the pollens come out like this, but the stigma is not ready to receive the flower. So all the pollen transfer here, and pollination is going on. This type of pollination is called XENOGAMY. Okay, what is the pollination type? Here, the same flower of the same plant, two flowers are there. One pollen sac is ready to dehiscence the pollen, but this stigma of the same flower is not ready to receive it. Anyhow, the second stigma present in the different flower is receive that pollen and pollination occurs. So this is the GEITONOGAMY. GEITONOGAMY is a second type of self-pollination. So what is the peculiarity of GEITONOGAMY? GEITONOGAMY, transfer of pollen rays from anther to stigma of another flower of the same plant. Okay, what happens here? The transfer of pollen grain from the anther. That is the common process of pollination. Anther to the stigma of another flower, but condition is that flower is present on same plant. Okay, it is clear what happened here. If one flower is not ready, one stigma of the flower is not ready to receive or collect the pollen, then another flower of the same plant receives that pollen and pollination occurs. So this is called GEITONOGAMY. It is a type of self-pollination only. It is the type of self-pollination only. Because no other agent is required for transferring of the pollen. So this is the self-pollination. So what is self-pollination? If pollen transfer from male anther to female stigma by itself, then it is called the self-pollination. Autogamy, that occurs in the same flower, but in GEITONOGAMY, the flowers are different. Okay, but the flowers are placed in the same plant only. Different flower, but it is present in the same flower. The second type of the pollination. The second type of pollination is called cross-pollination. Okay, this is the second type of the pollination that we call the cross pollination. What happened in the cross pollination? Cross pollination first. It is also called xenogamy. It is also called xenogamy. Xenogamy. Or it is also called allogamy. Allogamy. This has a different name for the cross pollination. Xenogamy or allogamy. Now, what happens in this type of the pollination? In this type of the pollination, some external agents are required for pollination. The process of pollination is performed with the help of certain agents. The process of pollination is performed by the help of certain agents. Okay, what are the role of agents? They carry the pollen from one place to another place. What place? From the male part to the female part. So some external agents are there who transfer pollen from one part to another part. So this is a process of pollination which is performed by the help of certain agents. It's called cross pollination, or it is called xenogamy, or it is called allogamy. Okay, so this is the pollination. Okay, now what are these external agents? These external agents are the various types of there. Okay, we have to study this in detail of some external agents, wind, water, insects, animals. These all are the external agents. So some external agents we have to study in detail, such as the wind. Okay, this is the external agent. Help in pollination, cross pollination, and cross pollination. The first external agent which is helpful for the cross pollination is called wind or air. Wind or air. This type of pollination is called anemophily. It's called anemophily. Okay, if the pollination occurs with the help of the winds only, they are called the anemophily. Anemo is the word related for the wind. Now, what is the nature of these type of the pollen? Pollen must be light in weight. Okay, light in weight, it means the air easily blow it out. With the blowing of the air, it moves forward. Okay, what is the character of the pollen here? It must be light and non-sticky. Okay, what is the first character? The pollen must be light in weight and non-sticky. If it is non-sticky, then it is able to fly from one place to another place. If it is sticky, then it is unable to fly high or fly from one place to another place. Now, what is the second peculiarity present in the pollen? In this type of the plant, in this type of the pollen is there. Pollen is light and the non-sticky. It contains the well-exposed stamen. The stamen must be well exposed. In this, flower has well exposed stamen. Stamen, that is the main plant. If it is well exposed, then only air carry the pollen from that part. So what is the third peculiarity which is present in this type of the pollen or in this type of the flower? The female part, that is called the stigma part. The stigma is large, feathery. It is the stigma. The flower has large feathery. Feather is the wing, feathery stigma. But the large feathery stigma to trap or easily trap the pollen. Okay. If it is large only, then pollen it is flying up with the air, fall. The stigma is able to catch that pollen. Actually, these pollens are called airborne pollen. Pollen which is prepared only for the mode of the pollination, or that is pollination is anemophily pollination. Okay, one more important characteristic that this type of the flower has only one ovule in the ovary. Okay, this flower contains only one ovule in ovary. Only one ovule in ovary. That is important one. It means one ovule is present in each ovary, but it has numerous flowers present there. It is actually pack of the flower. These flowers are the numerous means large number of the flowers combined together. Numerous flowers packed into one thing. Okay, it means into an inflorescence. It is not a single flower. It is a bunch of the flowers combined together. With this example of this type of the pollination present in the corn cob. It is very much visible nowadays, where you are able to go in any farmland to see the corn cob. That is called the tassel. Okay, or in grass, that is also visible near about your place because it is the rainy season. The first type of the external agent, that is called the wind, or called anemophily. Anemophily is the first type of the external agent. So what is the second type of the external agent? The second type of external agent is water. Water is very much helpful, especially for the aquatic plants. It is very much needed for the transferring of pollen from one place to another place. So the second type of the external agent is water. Okay. Water, it is also called hydrophily. Hydro is water, so it is called the hydrophily. What is the peculiarity here? It is especially occur in monocotyledons. It occurs in monocot or monocotyledons. Okay, the first peculiarity is that the small plants or the less developed plants such as algae, it is present in algae, bryophytes, as well as the pteridophytes. Okay, algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, they show this type of the pollination. All aquatic plants do not pollinated by water. Why all aquatic plants do not pollinated by water? Let us think a little bit. All aquatic plants do not pollinated with the help of external agents, that is water. What is external agent here? Water. But all the aquatic plants is not based on this type of the pollination. Why? Some aquatic plants wear the flower which is come over the water surface. Okay, the flower come over the water surface. If the flower comes over the water surface, then what happens? This agent is not needed for that type of for pollination of that flower. The best example is water hyacinth. That is called the gel kumbi. So visible near about water blogging place, in your area, go and visible it. It is very much common in water bodies. Okay, this is the water hyacinth. Water lily is also example. What happened in this? The flower is little bit like this in the inflorescence form. Water is here only. This is the water level. So water is unable to transfer the pollen from here to here. It means the water or mode of pollination or external agent water is not helpful for this type of the aquatic plant. So all the aquatic plants do not pollinate with the help of water, such as the water hyacinth, water lily. These are the placed in this row. The flowers which is pollinated with the help of the water only, the flowers are not very colorful. Okay, they do not produce nectar also. These flowers is the flowers in which flowers in which water is mode for pollination. In this type of the flower, what happens in these flowers? Less colors are there, or it may be colorless. Okay, no color is present. It is not colorful, or it is no less color or no color. No color is there. Also, they do not produce nectar. Okay, this is the particularity of the flower in which water is used as the pollinating agent. This especially monocotyledons. They are the less color flower or no color flower, and they also not produce the nectar. But all the aquatic plants do not show the pollinating agents, the water only. Okay. The next type of the pollinating agent, I already told you, lots of the pollinating agents are there. This is two that is given in the CBSE course. You have to study it in detail. But some you know only the name of the pollinating agent. The third pollinating agent is insect. The third pollinating agent is insect. Okay. Now, what type of the pollination? What is this, the pollination which is carried out by insect is called called entomophily. Entomophily. Okay. Entomophily. These flowers are. What is the peculiarity of this flower? These flowers are large. These flowers are colorful. Because only insects are attracted towards it. You see in your garden, various butterflies are there. Butterflies insects. It attracts towards the color of the flower. It also has a large flower. Must be fragmented there. Fragmented flower. Fragments must be there in the flower. Flowers are fragmented. Fragmented flower is there. Okay. It is rich in nectar. But able to attract the insect towards it. It is rich in nectar. Okay, the insect which is act as an external agent is the flies, beetles. Okay, for example, flies, beetles, etc. They are the insects which act as a agent for the pollination. Okay. They are secreted the foul smell also. Fragrance is not a good smell. The foul smell is also included in that. So this is the three main types of the pollinating agents. But some pollinating agents are also there. For example, birds. Birds also act as a pollinating agent. The pollination occurs with the help of birds. It's called ornithophily. Okay. Some more pollinating agents are there, such as the animals. The grazing animals are there. They are called zoophily. Some more agents are there, such as animals, bats, snails. Okay, these all are the agents which help to carry the pollen from one place to another place, from one flower to another flower. This is about the pollination. There are two types of the pollination: self-pollination and cross-pollination. For self-pollination, autogamy, GEITONOGAMY is there, and cross-pollination is the XENOGAMY is there. Totally, there are three types of the pollination: autogamy, GEITONOGAMY, and XENOGAMY. This is all about the pollination.